My name is Jake, you're watching Fighter Fans TV. I'm going to be talking about the fact that Aljamain Sterling should probably be cutting it back a little bit before he's going after that Henry Cejudo fight that he seems to desperately want. So if you watch UFC 259, or even if you saw highlights at this point, Petr Yan lost his UFC bantamweight title because he hit Aljamain Sterling with a brutal knee that was so massively illegal it was almost ridiculous. So if you didn't see it for any reason, Aljamain Sterling is on the floor. He's clearly got both knees on the floor. The referee, you can clearly hear him say he's a downed opponent. Now, apparently his corner was saying things like, oh no, you can kick him, but that's not true. Apparently, after the fight, there was some talks. It was actually said that all the corner said to him was punch, don't kick. So for some reason, Petr Yan decided he was winning this fight. I mean, it wasn't a massively close fight. He was winning this fight. He just had to hold out for just a little bit longer, and he was walking away with the bantamweight championship once again. But he hit that ridiculous knee. If you're a pro wrestling fan, it was like watching Kota Ibushi hit his Kamigoye. It was just like, oh, it was brutal. Absolutely brutal. Down went Sterling. Sterling was on the floor. The question was then whether or not Sterling should continue. So the fact is, if you've just been hit in the head with that brutal knee, you could be concussed. So I don't see why the decision is put in the fighter's hands. It shouldn't be put in the fighter's hands. It should be the doctor and the referee making a decision. Look, that was a massively illegal move. He took him out. Because, yes, Petr Yan was at the point where he was probably going to win the fight on points if it went the distance. But you can never, ever, ever, ever rule out somebody getting a knockout. Because it's just, you can't do that. You can't turn around and say that, well, no, because it would have gone another round or so. He'd have just completely just walked round him. He'd have won it anyway. That's not true. Anyone at any point in any fight in the UFC, every single person that steps foot in that octagon is a top tier combat athlete. So I don't think it's fair to just say, well, Petr Yan had won the fight completely. Petr Yan had just walked away with it. He was going to be fine. That's not right. What's also not right, and I completely agree that you stop the fight on a DQ, and fundamentally, the champion should know the rules of the fight. He should know the rules of engagement because that's his division. He is the champion in a division. He has paid a good amount of money to fight for that company. He should know the rules. I mean, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. What, you shouldn't have done it. Now, after the fight, Aljamain Sterling dropped the belt and said, look, I didn't want to win like that. I did not want to win the bantamweight championship like that. I'm fine with that. That's absolutely fine. Yes, he did an interview. He may have well been concussed. Yes, he seemed to be fine during the interview, but in terms of concussion protocol, certain things happen to certain people. He clearly got hurt. It's not his fault. I can't believe that I'm actually seeing people say, oh, he should get an Oscar for the way that he performed after that. And that, to be fair, that goes for you too, Henry Cejudo. You said that to him. And yeah, granted, you did apologise, but that's not really on, is it? I mean, the guy got absolutely smacked in the head. You're an athlete. You're a combat athlete. You saw what Petr Yan did was illegal. So you can't then turn around and say, Aljamain Sterling, oh, you were giving it this and that. You were trying to fake him out and all this. Now, Aljamain Sterling walked away, no problems at all. Now, here's what should have happened. Now, if you remember, Daniel Cormier lost to John Jones. What happened after that fight? John Jones got disqualified. DC was then walking around with this belt because he got given the belt back, and he was like, I'm not champion. My next fight is going to be I'm fighting for a vacant belt because in my mind, I'm not the champion. If Aljamain Sterling had done that, I wouldn't have an issue. What Aljamain Sterling did though, granted, he is the champion. He has a right to celebrate. I don't have a problem with that. But he now seems to be like he's ducking Petr Yan. That is the money fight. Don't now turn around and start something with Henry Cejudo as if that's the money fight. Yes, Henry Cejudo coming out of retirement, even though he just wants to get paid more because his retirement has been terrible. Like, you want to learn how to retire, mate? Look at Conor McGregor. That's how you retire. That's the way to retire and make loads of money. Because the way you're doing it is shocking, mate. It is proper shocking. So, fundamentally, Aljamain Sterling has just completely ducked Petr Yan now and said, no, I'm going to go for that Henry Cejudo fight. No, the money fight is Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. You could absolutely have a main event of a pay-per-view with that fight. Because people now want to see that fight. Petr Yan was going to win that fight if it went the distance. Aljamain Sterling could have knocked him out. And that's got to be Yan versus Sterling for that belt again. I'm sorry. Nothing else can happen. That has to be the fight. and I sincerely hope that the UFC matchmakers, that's what they're going to do. I think that is what they're going to do. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. You can do this one, but don't do this one, it's bad. Do this one. Hit the little notification bell so you know each and every time we put a brand new video up right here on Fighter Fans TV. Thanks.